Okay, y'all, welcome back to the latest episode. Thanks for tuning in. It's your guy, Jay. We're going over all the stuff that we did since you saw the last episode that we had. So we're going over a lot of the pre-final. So you're gonna see some furniture in place. You're actually gonna see some more updates that we've done throughout the house. Not anything's been a major overhaul, but I do think there are enough changes that you're gonna have a good treat. So let's get right into it. Let's go. So you're actually seeing the house, it's kind of a mess, but I do want to point out some of the pieces because furniture is always what helps give a house a sense of space or a sense of place. So I do think it is really important that we bring that in. So you're actually seeing some of the pieces now. Now what you're seeing, like for instance, this wheel here, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna end up there, but I do think for myself, and something that is helpful for you guys, is if you start putting things around, you'll at least start to get a feel for what a place is going to look like. So I always start out there, keep it super simple, but on the construction side of things, because I also want to break things down for you, is for instance the fireplace. Now that we have all of our penny rounds in place, we actually, it's gonna be a little tough to see it, but we have a really clear grout detail. And the reason why I went with that clear grout detail is because I didn't want anything to detract from the pennies, because I love the way they look. They look so cool, super fresh. I think it turned out really dope. Another thing as well, if you guys remember on the ground here, we had a big opening. So what we did, we actually had the guys come out, we put framing all around. We then got our plywood that went on top of it, and then we finished it with some cement board on top and then stuccoed the whole thing. What that did is that now created a nice strong surface, so it could be essentially be walked on. Not that anybody's going to walk on it, but I do think it's important to note that you need to have a solid base, because if you remember from one of the previous episodes, this was all cracked up, and that's because underneath they had no structure. And when you have no structure, you essentially have something that just doesn't work and it's gonna fall apart. So now that all this is done, we're gonna finish by painting it all black. Because it is a fireplace, it would technically be covered in soot, even though nobody's gonna be using the fireplace. I still want it to look really appealing. So that's gonna be a really big thing that's done over the next week or so. And then up here, we're actually gonna have a wood beam that's gonna be the mantle. It's gonna run across. And eventually I'll put a TV up on the wall. I don't know if you guys will see it, but those are the plans. So let's take you through the rest of the living room and show you what it looks like. So something that I absolutely love is when I get to put the sofa in a space, because it's the first big piece of furniture that really makes it feel like a home again. And here I have two sofas, because one of them was at one house that they didn't end up buying it, which was this guy right here, and that's totally fine, because I can always use it in other instances. Thankfully, because this is gonna be a rental property, amazing. Now I can take that sofa that I was gonna put in a house that was for sale, put it into a rental, and I don't have to worry about buying anything. Now, something that I also do with a lot of the rental properties that I'm doing is that I put them on short-term rental, or I put them on something called Furnish Finder. Now, those sites are great because it's a way to actually increase the amount of income that you get per month, as opposed to a long-term lease, a long-term tenant who will have their own furniture, which is cool, but now I can charge a premium essentially for having all the furniture and decorations done for you. So with that being said, I have two sofas, and thankfully I have another house that's not too far from here that when all things are said and done, I'm gonna take one of these sofas and put it over there. But I do think the first piece is getting the sofa to look really good. Now, I always say, place to get when you're looking for furniture: OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, dumpster diving. Those three places are gonna be the best options that you have if you're looking for a low cost, low budget solution. In total, I think I paid $75 for this one. And believe it or not, I actually got this guy at BrandsMart, and I only paid about $200 for it, which is incredible. But that's because it was on sale and they're looking to do a closeout, which is pretty nice. So in addition to that, outside of the furniture, everything else in here is pretty much done. Our walls are painted. We still need to get the plastic off of our windows, and we also need to get our curtains put down behind, but it's been really slow trying to get that stuff done because we're waiting on a couple orders that we haven't yet received from our online store. So outside of that, I think that kind of wraps up the living room. We got a couple more things to show you near the front door, so let's get right to it. Okay, we are now near the front door in our little reading nook slash office space. It's a little bit of combination of both. So we got some chairs in. We actually have this bed frame, which I was really hoping to be able to use it at some point, but I do think it's gonna go into another flip that I'm currently working on over in Boca. I think it'll be just the right look for it because it's a really modern bed and it fits an aesthetic that has a little bit more of an upscale feel to it. Plus, I'm always worried about whenever you have something like this is called cane. It's like a really simple mesh pattern, but with the wrong kind of people, it'll just get abused. So it's better in like museum type settings, which a flip is perfect for that because nobody's actually using it unless it's gonna be the homeowner, in which of course homeowners just in general take better care than the renters do. It is what it is. So that guy is gonna probably move to the next place, but in the meantime, we're getting some semblance of an idea here, right? Maybe a plant, a place like have a little reading nook, read a book, a little lamp coming over the side, something like that. That's the feel that I'm going for. It's not really anything specific, but again, the reason why I put all these things in place is because I'm trying to give myself an impression of what my eyes are hoping to accomplish. So step by step, by doing things like this, I take away, I add a rug, remove. Those are the pieces and those are the movements that help me try to identify that space. Then when it's all said and done, and I know I've got just the right look, it's a space that's gonna feel really inviting. All right, this is gonna be the desk side of where we just were in the last shot. So on this side, I'm gonna really treat this like a little home office. So a nice desk, some vignette of a plant, a lamp, similar to the other side, but the difference with this one is that this is really like a work from home feel. So I'm really gonna put a lot of emphasis and energy in trying to make it a space where somebody could sit down, where they feel like they can step away from being in the middle of the living room or a bedroom and actually get some work done. So this is just kind of the first little instance of it. It still looks like a mess, I know, but I do know that in the right time, with the right amount of energy, we're gonna get to look exactly the way we need. All right, y'all, we are now in the first guest bedroom, and I don't know if you noticed, but you hear how much quieter it is? At least for me, maybe because like all the furniture is in here. But anyway, so what we're doing in here is we're just setting out our first pieces of furniture. We got our bed in place, we got our mattress, which is great. Again, now the benefit of this and having this mattress is because I actually did a short-term rental in the last property that I sold in Delray. And what was great about it is that the people didn't buy the furniture. Not that it's good that they didn't buy the furniture, but it's good because it's furniture that I now don't have to buy for the rental. So I was able to take the mattress that was used for about 2 months. It was a brand new mattress. Bring it over here, we'll get everything done as far as sheets, bedding, making it look really nice. And then once it's all said and done, this room's gonna be pretty much a wrap. So the only thing that's gonna be left, we need to get our window treatment over our windows, which of course, we're gonna get our rug down so that we can make the floor space feel a little bit more inviting, more homey. And then we're gonna get some art up on the walls just to really help accentuate the space and make it feel like a place someone feels comfortable sleeping in. So in the next episode, you're actually gonna see the final, and I'm even gonna be surprised myself because I have no clue what I'm gonna put in here, but stay tuned. So I'm gonna go over some of the challenges that I faced with this bathroom and then as the house as a whole. So I've been waiting on closing for another property and I did finally close on it. Yay, super excited. However, the money still hasn't been funded yet because today is Saturday and it happened after 4 o'clock, which is the cutoff time for the institution that had to lend the money. With all that being said, and the reason why I'm explaining that is that I've been waiting for a long time to be able to get some funds so that I can continue the renovation. So something that people are just not really gonna understand is that as a real estate investor, you're just constantly going through highs and lows of having money and having nothing. Where a lot of your friends and family might see your success and then look at it as like, oh, you're killing it, you got all these houses, you're making $1 gajillion. But in reality, you're actually really struggling because you have to cover your mortgage payments, you have to cover your water, your electricity, you gotta pay guys. And it might look from the outside like, well, you have all this money, you have all these properties, I know you're just fine. But it actually can be really challenging. And something that I've been struggling with over the last couple months is that I haven't really had a lot of money to get through some of the renovations because I've been waiting for some other properties to close. So that's a perfect example right here. So even in the last time you guys saw this bathroom, there really hasn't been a whole lot of change because I'm still trying to get the money together. So one of the things that I did have, and I did actually have an opportunity was use a credit card that I had to purchase this vanity. Now, here are some of the downsides of it. It's way too big. Like, look at this. I'm gonna sit at the toilet. Look how much, I'm not even the biggest guy. Like, there is literally no space to sit in here. So the problem that we have with this vanity is that it's just way too large. And it's not even that the vanity is large, but the space for the vanity is just not big enough. So one of the challenges with this specific house, again, we have this wonky layout where you got a door here that leads into a bedroom. You guys are standing at one door, and then there's another laundry door opening literally right here. So the challenge with all of that is that there just isn't any space to get a large vanity in. Something that I do think will happen over the next year, once I have accumulated some more funds and we can do an even more worthwhile renovation, we're actually gonna close off this door completely. And what that's gonna do is that's now gonna allow the space to have a vanity that goes all the way across here. We'll bring some tile over it, we'll get rid of the door opening, we'll drywall it, and then we'll put the mirror right there. It's just gonna make for the bathroom to be a lot more usable. But just like all things, when you're trying to get through renovations, you're trying to do it on a budget, is that you don't really have all the money to be able to do some of the things that you really want to. So something that you're gonna need to do is that you're gonna have to be very budget conscious and then push and pull, do whatever you can in hopes that down the road you'll have enough money to recoup some of that through renting it and then do something that's a lot more useful and more usable for people who are actually staying in your space. So maybe not today, but in the future, you're gonna see a lot of changes. All right, y'all, we are in the main bedroom of the house, and in here you could actually see we got our beds in place. Now, you might be wondering, why do you have two beds inside of one bedroom? Well, that's because, again, this is gonna be a short-term rental, and with short-term rental, we're trying to increase the number of people who could actually use this space. So, as opposed to putting the king-size bed in here, we're actually gonna put two full-size beds. I'm gonna add a king-size bed to the room that you guys were just in. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if somebody does have a owner suite or a space that they want to call for themselves, that'll be used as that one. And then this will be one where either the kids or somebody else can use, just so we can increase the accommodation, the amount of people who are sleeping inside the space. Now, is everybody gonna wanna use two beds or feel uncomfortable because of two beds? Yeah, no, who knows? But I do know for the purposes of what we're using this property as when it comes to rental, we're actually gonna get a little bit more money because we're increasing the number of heads who are sleeping. So that's the first thing that's complete. Next, you could also see is the fan. We finally had that installed. Now, this fan is interesting because one, it's really small, but it's super powerful, which I love it, which I'm gonna show you guys in another clip. What's great about it is that it doesn't take up too much space. The only issue I have, yeah, way too low, way too low. Now, I can just pass underneath it, but that's still inappropriate because if you're like a 6'3" guy, 6'4", you're gonna have a little bit of problem when it comes to this fan. So something that my electrician is gonna need to do is actually gonna have to take off this mounting bar or the extension arm from the top. We're gonna remove that and then slide this guy up higher so that it actually covers more of the room. Oh, sorry, so that it has less height coming down into the room. And what's also great about this fan too is because of how powerful it is, you still get a lot of fan movement and a lot of air, even though it might seem like it's just gonna be a really tight space. So small fan, super powerful, but still very useful given the conditions that we're using it in. So outside of those things, we're gonna get a closet door in, which is right behind you guys. Let me swing around here. We still need to figure out what to do as far as our opening is concerned, because one thing is you have this door, so you can't have like a bifold because it's just gonna be banging into the door. Or if you do have something like that, you have to also account for the fact that the bed is gonna be here too. So I might do like a simple sliding option. Still trying to figure that out because, again, just like I said before, still waiting on some money. So just stay tuned, but we'll get it going soon enough. Okay guys, thank you for tuning in. That drops this. Okay guys, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure you guys tune in again next week where you're gonna see the final of everything that we've done. You're gonna see all the furniture put in. You're gonna see all of our countertops installed, which you guys are seeing in front of you right now. The problem is we just haven't really had a chance to do a whole lot of work here because we got a bunch of projects going at the moment and we've been struggling with the money, which is what I brought up so many times so far in this episode. But do know that once we do get our closing that we're waiting on, some funds from it, we'll be able to wrap this thing up pretty quickly. So if you guys haven't already, be sure to follow me here on YouTube and on Instagram at @Abrams. Turn on those post notifications so you know anytime a new video drops. Also, be sure to tune in on Saturdays where you get the business portion, which is a little bit different from the house flipping flipping that I do with you guys. That's also gonna be really special because you're gonna see some of the ins and outs of what happens, not only behind the scenes, kind of like what you're seeing here on the house flipping, but behind the scenes in terms of putting a deal together and where the real estate market is going. So until next time, catch you on the next one.